What's up guys? Today we've got something special in to check out. Well, for projector owners it's something special. We've got Stewart Filmscreen's StudioTek 100 projector screen. Before we get into it, if you're interested in home theater products like projector screens, then consider subscribing for new weekly videos. So I'd planned on having a few projectors in for review, so I figured why not get the reference quality screen to showcase each of the projectors coming in through the Spare Change Theater. If you're familiar at all with Stewart, they're known worldwide as the most requested provider of reference standard screens for studio quality control, digital intermediate, and critical viewing for dailies, dubbing, and editing. So this is the brand that the pros use. I also wanted to see if the screen is worth its asking price over the more wallet-friendly solutions from SilverTicket and Elite Screens. So without further ado, let's get this unboxed, set up, and we'll see how it looks with our daily projector, the Sony 695 ES. This particular model retails for $3,285. It's 130 inches in a 235:1 aspect ratio. Now, when you're watching movies, you won't get those black bars. These screens are also made in the USA for those folks that find that important. In the box, we get the side and top frame pieces, a Stewart Filmscreen plaque that you can hang on your wall to show off to your friends, the manual, some mounting hardware, and in this giant tube is the screen material. After you've taken everything out of the box, putting it together is a pretty simple procedure. Just grab either the top or bottom frame piece and remove the 1/2-inch bolt. Be mindful of the 2K label here. You want to be sure you have the matching labels on all 4 corners. Grab the other piece with the matching 2K label and slide them together. Take the 1/2-inch bolt you removed earlier and tighten them both together using a 1/2-inch wrench. Just don't tighten them too hard. And remember, you want all 4 corners to have matching corresponding labels. After the frame is assembled, remove the screen material from the tube and roll it out on your floor. Next, all you have to do is snap the screen to the frame. I'd start on the corners to get things lined up a lot easier. After you're done snapping, it should look just like this. Super easy and should only take you about a half an hour. Okay, so this will be paired with a Sony 695 ES native 4K projector, along with the Kaleidoscape Strato S and an Oppo 203 4K Blu-ray player. Keep in mind, this screen only has a gain of 1.0, so there won't be any enhancement to the image, meaning there is no added gain or brightness. So whatever light is shooting at the screen will be reflected back at the same brightness. Real quick primer. 1.0 gain equals 0% added brightness, 1.2 gain, 20%, 1.3 gain, 30% more brightness. I'm sure you get how the math works out. With added gain, you get the risk of having a hot spot in the center of your screen, since that's where your lens is pointed at and that's where it's at its brightest. So brighter in the center, and then darker around the edges. So having a higher gain may or may not work best for your situation. To avoid that, I wanted to get a screen with a gain of 1.0. I should also mention that the StudioTek 100 has nearly a 0 minimum throw distance, so you could use this with ultra short throw projectors at about 6 inches from the screen and get no hot spotting. I used the screen with the Xiaomi projector video just recently, so if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link for it at the end of this video. Also be aware of your room surfaces like walls, speakers, furniture, electronics with lights, etc. Depending on their reflectivity, they could affect the screen's performance. Having light-colored walls and the projector's light bouncing off the walls or some speakers could diminish your image. Alright, with that said, let's fire up one of the best movies for color, brightness, and HDR vividness, and just a sharp, crispy 4K movie overall. My go-to, Aquaman. I know what you're thinking, why is the image all curved? Well, this screen is 130 inches and the maximum size I can fit is 125 inches. I'm also using an anamorphic lens, so ideally I'd need to use a curved screen. But this Stewart screen is flat, so that's throwing off the geometry as well. Aside from that, I know it's impossible to tell in a YouTube video, but the color fidelity and uniform brightness is easily the best I've seen in my theater. There's a certain cleanliness and a smoothness to the picture that I haven't seen on any of the SilverTicket, Elite, or Daylight screens that I've had. I'm not sure if you can tell in the video, but the front is the StudioTek and the back is the SilverTicket. It's obviously which is a better quality screen material. The SilverTicket just seems a tad darker and a little more porous. The Stewart screen is just smooth and very fine. And it really does help when you're watching a movie. You don't want any weird textures in your image. But as far as picture quality again, with HDR material, those spectral highlights from explosions were just as dynamic as any LED TV set I've seen. Of course, it helps to have a bright projector as well. If you were to pair this up with a really bright projector like the Epson 6050 that I had in here recently, you might think this blows away even the brightest TV sets. On darker movies like The Crimes of Grindelwald, with a blacked out room and a high quality source, shadow detail, and the varying gradations of blacks and grays, The screen neither elevated blacks or deepened them, at least not to my eyes. Now, I'm not a professional calibrator or have professional measurement tools, so you can take what I have to say with a grain of salt. I'm just reporting what I'm seeing coming from different screens that I've had. Now, for sharpness, the screen is rated at up to 16K, so with my 4K Sony, it was razor sharp. On some other screens that I've seen, the material can actually soften the image, but as I mentioned before, since the screen is so smooth, 4K movies came through crystal clear. Just remember that if you opt for a screen with a 1.0 gain, you will need to keep the lights off, totally off, or the image will get all washed out. So the question is the asking price of $3,285 worth it over the more affordable competition? I mean, you could almost buy 8 silver tickets for the price of this one screen. You could use that extra spare change to buy some speakers or a receiver if you went with a silver ticket or an elite. But I mean, if a Stewart screen is one of your choices of screen brands, then that must mean you've got yourself a pretty high-end projector that you want to pair with it. If you've got a $1,000 Optoma or BenQ, you're likely not going to get a screen that costs 4 times the actual projector. Now, from my time with the StudioTek 100, I immediately saw the difference between budget screen surfaces and one that cost in the thousands. As I mentioned earlier, if you have this paired with a projector with enough brightness, this screen will give you the cleanest, most uniform image I've seen so far in my theater. And when I say clean, I saw 0 visible screen texture from any seating location. That's even with my face right up to the screen. With some of the other brands that I've had in here for review, which I thought had a smooth texture-free surface, when I compared it to the Stewart just beats them out. The white surface of the Stewart even appeared brighter looking than the rated 1.1 gain of the other screen brands that I mentioned, which makes me think that maybe those 1.1 gain ratings aren't exactly true because the StudioTek did come across a little brighter with only a 1.0 gain. Now, I'm not knocking the more affordable options out there. They're affordable for a reason, and they do a stellar job at their asking price. But I get why theaters and post-production studios have Stewart screens in their facilities. This screen has made me a believer. I thought my projector looked awesome before, but after seeing it on the StudioTek, I will be placing my order for one very shortly. Now, like I said, if you're looking to keep within an affordable budget, this screen isn't going to do it for you. But if you're a real discerning videophile and want the absolute best image reproduction for your projector, then this has got to be it. I don't know who else can make a better screen than this. Now, of course, you can't just take my word for how good this screen actually looks. If you want to contact them, they do offer screen samples in different materials. As I mentioned earlier, this particular screen is just plain white and works best for my setup. So depending on your situation, Stewart does offer a ton more options to optimize your viewing. Now, this review unit was sent to me directly from Stewart, but I will be getting one for myself, one that actually fits. If you're interested in picking one up, just contact our friend Robert over at Value Electronics and they can hook you up. Well, alright guys, let us know what kind of screen you guys are using and have you ever thought of picking up a Stewart. Thanks for watching, follow us on social media, and if you want to support the channel and get exclusive content and giveaways, you can stop by our Patreon page. Be sure you like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys again in the next video.